Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. Joseph James, SchoolTrade.com. Today was July 27th, 2010. Boy, guys, I hate to say it, but we're almost halfway through the month, almost halfway through the summertime months here. The end of July, of course, brings the beginning of August. And at the end of August, right, we got to get to the first week in September. Okay, but after the first week in September, that's it for the summertime trading. And then it's the best time of year. Right, September, October, November, December, guys, that's when I want to be a trader every single year. But guys, we're not done the summertime yet. And if the summertime continues this way, guys, well, another tough day in the room today, I guess. Another daily record in our live trade room, 270 ticks today, guys. I'll tell you, like I've always said, if this is what the summertime trading is going to be like this year, right? We've had clouds here in Los Angeles all summer. We're kind of bummed out about that, but we got lots of sunshine in our live trade room this summer. And guys, I want to remind you, if you're watching the video on the blog right now, use the search box to search for all the important topics. Use the live support button for any tech support, membership questions, trade call questions. You've got your YouTube page, your Facebook page, guys. Remember, there's lots of videos on YouTube. There are videos on YouTube that aren't posted on our blog. So check out the YouTube page, guys. The link's right there. But below the YouTube link, you'll see the followers. Now, you want to follow this blog, guys, because we just called a 100-tick winner on crude this morning. I don't know if you guys saw that, but about 1 o'clock Eastern time, had a nice two-step short set up on crude. We posted it on the blog, and we sent it out to our newsletter list. So if you're on the newsletter, you're going to get it a couple minutes late. You got to follow that blog, right? So click the follow button. That way you'll get everything, right, real time when it's posted on the blog. All right, let's see here. We took a bunch of trades today, guys. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 total trades. We traded crude. We traded gold. We got a trade on the euro on there, right? Saw some dollar support, so we took a euro trade. But as you can see, though, we pretty much were selling gold all morning, right? Gold and crude really made us the money this morning. 270 ticks, 2760. That is the biggest day of the year by 60 USD, by 6 ticks. Now, guys, we had the biggest day of the year broken twice last week. So what a great month so far. 26,000 for the month so far. 98,000 for the year so far, guys. And, of course, we've already made a huge month. We'll keep you guys posted the rest of the month here. Now, what's the most important that happened today? Well, it was another slow beginning to the morning. We opened up at 7:45. We look at our charts. And what do we see? Slow speed. Trading around the opens. We saw a couple wedge patterns as we usually see these slow summertime markets we're trading here. So slow at the open, but we expected to see that. We always expect to see a little bit of slow price action about 7:45, 8 o'clock. All right, but then all of a sudden we kind of had this interesting kind of market environment this morning. We had lots of patterns. We had the crude market dancing around a wedge pattern. That was giving us lots of patterns, but we really didn't see a lot of momentum. We didn't see a lot of movement. We saw movement. We didn't see a lot of big money though, right? The volume was still low. So we had to really kind of keep sitting on hands. Volume was a concern, even though we were still seeing moves this morning. And then 9 o'clock, we had that news number at 9 o'clock this morning. At 9 o'clock this morning, that was what first started moving things around at 9 o'clock. Now, as always, in the summertime months, there'll be times of high volume and low volume. Right now, news events are a great time to be looking around the markets because they're going to bring volume to the markets. Okay, so after 9 o'clock, we then started seeing things really begin to move. 9:30 came and went. The U.S. markets opened up. And then 10 o'clock, we had consumer confidence. Consumer confidence, right, was a higher number than expected, I believe, this morning. Whatever the reading was, it then lit a match for gold. Gold started selling off after 10 o'clock. Crude then finally broke below 78. If you guys remember, we were watching that 78. We knew that from the very beginning this week, right? All the way back to early Monday morning, we knew 78 even on crude was going to be our level. So we saw crude break below 78. We saw gold start selling off. And of course, that's what kind of got this whole thing started. Now, let's take a look first of all what we saw on crude. And guys, what you're going to see here is on the left side, you've got, get this right color here. On the left side here, again, now this is a 4-range chart. Okay, so it's a very fast time frame. It's equivalent to a 1-minute or a 2-minute chart. But what you're seeing here, though, is this trend line here, right? That's my wedge high. There's my wedge low. Okay, so I had defined a wedge pattern here. And then, of course, inside of that wedge pattern, right? We want to avoid. Okay, so there's your wedge pattern there. See that? On crude. Okay, so we immediately now identify the wedge pattern. And where do we find ourselves? Where are we? We're right up here. We're above the wedge. Okay, so up top here we are above, right, that wedge pattern. Now guys, what do you know about wedge patterns? They apply very similar to sideways markets. Sell the highs, buy the lows. Okay, so immediately now, I'm thinking to myself, hey, here's my swing low here. That will get me in now below, right, that trend line, and I can now sell the highs. Okay, so that was the original plan of attack here on the crude. Below 79.20, right, that was the original plan of attack. Get down inside the wedge, sell the highs, right, and ride it on down to the bottom. Okay, because it'll come all the way down here to that 70.85. So that was the goal. Okay, now let's look at what happened though. Follow me over now, right side. Okay, now of course, here's the 4 range chart again, but now we're a little bit later on, about 20 minutes later. Okay, so here was that short below 20. We never got the short below 20. What happened is we bounced and went up and made new highs again. So here we are, we make new highs. And of course, as you guys always know, whenever we make new highs, I'm always going to look for a 2-step short. And that's exactly what our first trade of the day was. All right, guys. So we first originally here were above the wedge. We thought if we can get below 20s, we'll grab a 2-step pattern short. But we never got below 20s. We actually ended up testing new highs, breaking new highs above 79.50, and that set us up here for our first trade of the day. Okay, so here we are now, left side of your screen here. Now again, here's that wedge pattern, right? Here's that wedge bottom. Here's that 20 level, right? We expected to break below 20, but of course we never did. We bounced back up, right? We make new highs. The high of day there, I'm going to mark up my swing low and break below that swing low. There's your first trade of the day here, guys. 842 on crude, 47 was the fill, 2 off at 4, 2 off at 1. 8 plus 2 is 10 ticks or 100 USD. Now, that's a very simple pattern. Okay, understanding how we're going to sell the highs, we went out and we tested new highs, so we're going to be sellers at those highs. But guys, check out the pace of tape indicator here. Right, down bottom here, lower right. Here's my pace of tape indicator. And what I want you guys to see here is, we did this example live in the room this morning, and I really think a lot of you guys got a good dose of tape reading out of this. But what I want you guys to see here is how we use the speed. Now, we talked about this today in our webinar. In the webinar today, we talked about what are the signs of a price reversal? Well, the signs are, right, the initial test, then the decreasing speed, and then the increasing speed in the opposite direction. So what happened here was we tested the highs. Okay, so with this increase in speed here, we tested the highs, right? That was where we made new highs. Right? Now that's all fine and dandy, but it's after we make those new highs, that's where I'm really going to focus in here. So after I made new highs, then what happens? Then we see price bounce off those highs. We see decreasing speed, right? Decreasing speed meaning we're seeing slower speed. But then all of a sudden though, what do we see? Because keep in mind, what I'm looking for here, I'm looking for a 2-step short. What I'm looking for here is going to be that increasing speed to test new highs. Then the buyers will subside, okay, decreasing speed. That then shows me the buyers have now exhausted, right? They're, oh my gosh, I can't do anymore, right? The buyers done everything they can to test highs. And so with the everything they can to test highs, that marks the higher speed. Well, then, of course, if the buyers now have given everything they've got, now they're going to be exhausted, right? They're going to keep pushing those new highs, and then they're going to collapse, right? They're done. They can't keep going anymore. Well, when they run out of gas, when they run out of bullets in that gun, that's when the speed begins to decrease. And so seeing the speed decrease, right, as you can imagine, that now tells me, wait a second, the buyers are losing control. Let's now look for an increase here in speed, right? That increase in speed right there, that's your 2-step short. All right, guys? So once again, think of it this way. Okay, here's my high up top here, right? There's my high. And I'm going to now approach the high, right? Increasing speed. Now we bounce off the high, decreasing speed, right? Decreasing speed. That tells me the sellers now are starting to, right, get an